everyone. Ray Pedraza on the McAllen Cable Network, visiting with our mayor, Mayor Richard Cortez, today about a topic that is before the state legislature right now, and that is proposed legislation to dissolve Water District, Hidalgo County Water District number 3. Many of you have maybe watched the hearing, the public house hearing, airing right now on MCN. Several people on both sides of the issue testified in Austin, including you, Mayor Cortez. For people who have not seen the hearing or maybe are still having questions about this, why does the city want to do this?
Ray, that's a very good question, and thank you for asking it. First of all, let me clarify what we want to do. What we want to do is to simply merge the Hidalgo County Water Improvement District number 3 into the McAllen Public Utility Board. The reason that we want to do that is so that we can provide a more secure source of water to our citizens, and for us to provide services to farmers, to lawn irrigators, and the city of McAllen at a lower cost. All right.
It's my understanding that these water districts were created nearly 100 years ago, and it's my understanding that they were created, or in particular Hidalgo County District number 3 was created for the purpose of irrigation, and now 94% of the revenue is generated from the city of McAllen. Is that correct?
Yes, Ray. The purpose of the water district is to provide water to farmers and to municipalities. And the way they do that is they pump water from the river through a canal system to farmers and the city. And because of the urbanization of McAllen, where we end up with now is that 94 to 96%, depending on what year it has been, their revenues come from the city of McAllen.
All right.
So what that tells you is that the original intent is no longer there, because now substantially most of the revenues come from one source only, and that's from us, the city of McAllen.
So how would this merge work, and how would this benefit the taxpayers in McAllen?
Well, the way it would work is, in essence, all that's going to happen is we change the governing board, because we do away with an unneeded layer of government, their water district board, and substitute it with the McAllen PUB board. All of the duties, all of the responsibilities that the board had prior to their dissolution continues. They're just shifted over to the PUB. The savings is going to come is that we're going to eliminate redundant expenses. They have an office, they have a district manager, they have several expenses that we, in the hands of the city of McAllen, wouldn't have to incur, because we already have those staffs in place. The other thing that we would do is we would eliminate the flat rate tax, because first of all, today they're in violation of the law with a flat tax, and I'll get to that a little later, but we would eliminate that. So as far as the pumping fees to all the people that use water, then they would be reduced because of those savings. The city of McAllen and people like us that are developing and expanding the infrastructure of McAllen would save money, because like right now we're extended bicentennial, which dissects the city of McAllen. We're long and narrow. We're trying to solve our mobility problems, so we had to extend bicentennial, and we paid them $2.6 million of right-of-way for some of the use. Well, if it was in the hands of the PUB, we already own all of those assets, so we wouldn't have to pay them to ourselves. So there would be a huge savings. In fact, we did the math, and had we done this 5 years ago, the citizens of McAllen would have saved $5 million, Ray. $5 million in the cost of providing additional drainage, streets, water, and sewer lines here in the city of McAllen. So we think this is a sufficient reason for us to be able to do that, because nobody wants to raise taxes. Everybody's struggling with their budgets. So any time that we have an opportunity to reduce costs, that's exactly what we want to do.
All right, this has created delays as well. You mentioned the bicentennial project. This has probably created delays, correct?
Yes, it created a lot of delays to us, Ray. You know, in negotiating the price, in negotiating the area of the property or whatever. So that would eliminate another layer of regulation for the city of McAllen. not to have to deal with them.
All right. One of the things that was addressed in the state hearing was accountability for the Hidalgo County Water District Number 3 board, and there was some mention regarding voting, some conflict of interest. Can you talk about that testimony a little bit?
Sure. Well, we believe that there were several abuses. One of the abuses is whenever they have an election, they seem to before they hold the election, to want to find out who's running for the particular post, and then they will cancel that area, that geographical area, from being within the district. So that would disqualify any person living in that area from wanting to seek an elected office. So we find that to be, one of the abuses. The other abuse, of course, has been that some of the board members themselves, they've had disputes with themselves, the water district. The board members themselves as individuals have had disputes with the water district as who owns a certain amount of property. Okay? The district says it's my property. The board member says, no, it's my property. Well, at the end, we ended up paying the individual board members money first, because if we hadn't paid them first, we would have never been able to settle with the water district and building bicentennial. We believe this is certainly a conflict of interest, because they should have never been involved in any of the voting of those items, because a conflict existed.
I also understand that revenue over the past few years for this water district has been from the sale of land also, and not particularly from the water irrigation.
Well, yeah, they're like Enron. Enron wasn't making any money with operations, so they were selling assets. And of course, they're not in the real estate business, Ray. Their sole purpose is to provide water to municipalities and farmers, and substantially their money has come from selling land. And again, there's been some abuse there. They have abandoned laterals in times in past because of urbanization. So when a property owner has sold the land, the water district has come back and says, hey, wait a minute, you sold part of our land. Says, well, wait a minute, it wasn't in the deed, it wasn't in any of the restrictions, it's nowhere in the map. It said, well, I'm sorry, but that was part of our lateral system, which they abandoned many years ago. Now they want to get paid for it at current prices, and the current prices of McAllen real estate, Ray, is pretty high. So you're talking about very substantial amounts of money that they're in essence trying to receive. The question then begs, it says, okay, so now you're going to get this money. What are you going to use it for? If you're down to 13 farmers and most of the land is urbanized, what are you going to use this money for?
Right. There was a farmer who testified who said he would rather the city of McAllen provide the service to them, while others kind of opposed it, saying that the city really doesn't understand farmers. And you say what to that?
Well, first of all, Ray, every individual has a right to believe whatever they believe in. And I think that if some farmer believes that the water district can do a better job than we can in providing them, then I can't argue with that individual. However, I can argue with any factual support to support that individual from believing that. We provide water for 35,000 different businesses and residents in the city of McAllen. It doesn't take a brain surgeon to open a valve so water can come from this canal to that lateral to a farmer's farm, and when you've reached the level of water that you want is to close the valve. So most of the work that's done here is by employees that work for the water district. Those employees then will become our employees. So for someone to tell me that we wouldn't have the technical knowledge to be able to do that, that is just simply not true.
Because a fourth or a third of our city staff works 24/7. I think our city manager also testified that we provide water to 4 hospitals without disruption in service, correct?
That's correct. They're trying to clout the issue to say that we don't understand water. Water is our business.
All right, very good. Now, if taxpayers in McAllen want to support you on this, what can they do? Can they write to their state lawmakers? Can they call their state lawmakers? What can people in McAllen do?
I think the taxpayers of McAllen really need to get engaged in this area, because To me, it's a no-brainer in this particular case, because all we're asking is to merge the water district into the PUB to eliminate an unnecessary layer of government. And once we do that, we're going to have huge savings to taxpayers and ratepayers within the city of McAllen. Who can argue with that? So now let's look at the other side. Well, wait a minute, why are people opposing it? Well, the reason people are opposing is they don't want to give up power. Power that they have been abusing us. Power that is no longer necessary. By their own laws that were enacted by the legislature, they're in violation of the law that created them by the way they financed their water district. So they have rules, the legislation has rules to sunset agencies that are no longer fulfilling the original intent. And this is a classic example of that such thing.
And bottom line, this is about being good stewards of taxpayer money, right?
Absolutely. You know, someone said that this was about arrogance. It has nothing to do with arrogance. Every time that we have to spend millions of dollars more to provide services to the citizens of McAllen, it is something of a concern to us. And if there's a solution to stop that and to make it more efficient, then we believe we have a duty to pursue that.
All right, Mayor, we will certainly keep everybody abreast of what's going on in Austin in regards to this issue. Any final thoughts?
Well, again, I urge every taxpayer in McAllen who cares about the city, cares about doing the right and appropriate thing, to call the Farm Bureau, to call their farmer friends, to call the state legislature, everybody, because this is the right thing to do.
All right, Mayor, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ray.
All right, and we thank you for watching. I'm Ray Pedraza, and this is the McAllen Cable Network.